to see the Rebbe's Maimer. And you can see how the Rebbe is medayik every word from the Frierdiker Rebbe's Maimer. And through those little diyukim, he builds this incredible Maimer. Okay, Moirai V'Raboisai, we're going to start now. We're doing Perek Tes, Yud, Yud Aleph, and Yud Beis. Now, as it turns out, Tes, Yud, Yud Aleph, and Yud Beis is half a Maimer. In other words, it's a third of the Maimer in Prakim, but it's half a Maimer in pages. So let me set up what we have so far, okay? Number one, just 1 second. Number one, we have Va'ata Tetzaveh. That Moshe Rabbeinu was Mekasher and Mechaber as Yisrael Mirin Tov. He connects into the Eibishter. How does he connect into the Eibishter? That he's on Mefanes as Yisrael Binyanem Muna. He gives Yidden Mezenes and Panosa about the Inyan of Amun. Number two, that is a Spashtus of the Moshe B'chol Dor V'Dor, that in every generation there's Moshe Rabbeinu who does the same Inyan, that he's Mekasher and Mechaber as Yisrael Mirin Tov. Al Yidei Shu Zon Mefanes as Yisrael Binyanem Muna. Number three, Kosses Lamoir. And this was the tricky thing. Kosses Lamoir, the Rebbe said like this: every Rebbe is Moir, not every Rebbe is Kosses Lamoir. Every Rebbe is Moir, every Rebbe touches the Yechida, to be Me'eda, the Chayah, that should come by Pnimiyas. But not every Rebbe is Kosses Lamoir, that the Yechida itself should come by Pnimiyas. After the Rebbe taught us all of these things, the Rebbe asked us a kasha. The kasha that the Rebbe asked, was, if our reading of the pasuk is correct, then the order of the word is incorrect. It should say Va'ata Tetzaves B'nei Yisrael Moshe Rabbeinu Shemekasher Mechaber Yisrael Mirin Tov, and then it should say Kosses Lamoir. Kosses, that when Yidden are crushed Lamoir, they're Megala the Yechida. And if there's no Kosses, so then it's Lamoir, not that you're Megala the Yechida, but that the Yechida is Noisin Koyach. It gives a strength that at least the Mazel, the Chaya, the Giluyim of the Neshama Emunah should come by Pnimius. But the words V'yichvei Lecha don't make any sense. Why? Because V'yichvei Lecha Hashem Zayizach as Moshe Rabbeinu Schar. That when Moshe Rabbeinu connects us to the Eibishter, there's a Teisus Eid Moshe. And the shaila is, why is in the middle of Moshe's job Moshe's Schar? V'ata Tetzaveh is Bnei Yisrael's Moshe's job. Kosses Lamoir is Moshe's job. And in between the two, you have the V'yichvei Lecha, and the Rebbe says it doesn't make any sense. So to answer this question, you have a brand new Maimer. And the brand new Maimer goes back to the pasuk on which the Frierdiker Rebbe's Maimer begins, which is the pasuk V'kibel HaYehudim Esesherachel Lasis. That Yidden went through the story of Purim. They were almost all killed. They did Shuvah. Hashem made a mud in the Knesset, and they were all survived. And then it says the Jewish people finalized, they affirmed what they started doing at Har Sinai. Har Sinai was the beginning, and by Purim was a Kabbalah, was an end. Now, when did this happen? We learned that it happened during the time that the Yidden's lives were in danger, right? That's what we learned. Yidden were about to lose their life, they were going to die for being Jewish, and they committed themselves again to Torah mitzvahs. The problem is that's not where it is in the Megillah. It's the very end of the Megillah, right? If you look at the pasuk, V'kibel HaYehudim Esesherachel Lasis, it's in Kapitel Tes, pasuk Chav Zayin. It's the very end of the Megillah, and the Rebbe says it's in the wrong place. V'kibel HaYehudim Esesherachel Lasis belongs when Mordechai tore his clothes and he cried and he rallied Yidden to tshuva. Over there it should say V'kibel HaYehudim Esesherachel Lasis. Why is it at the end? So the Rebbe now adds a Chiddush Godel B'Yeser. And the Chiddush is that there were two V'kibel HaYehudims. The two of them. 1, 2, count them. There was a V'kibel HaYehudim when the Jewish people faced certain death. They were going to die for being Jews, and they refused to assimilate. And they affirmed what the Eibush had started giving them at Har Sinai. And the second was after the Nes happened. And Yidden now were in a wonderful position. The Yidden again were Mekabel Eisa Sherechel Lasis. Verstehst? And then the Rebbe says that just like there are two V'kibel HaYehudim Eisa Sherechel Lasis, there's a V'kibel HaYehudim during the time of the Gezerah, and there's a Kibel HaYehudim after the Nes. There's also two Kosses Lamois. There is that when Yidden were about to lose their lives for being Jewish, and they were Kosses, they were literally crushed. because of Goyishkeit, and he revealed the Chiddush HaBenefesh. And then after the Nes happened, there's a second Kosas Lamoy. What's the second Kosas Lamoy? That even though the miracle had already occurred, and now Yidden find themselves in a comfortable position, comfortable Bagashmias, comfortable Beruchnias. Moreover, that Layhudim Hoysa Oideves Hamachavas and Vikar. Moreover, that it says in the pasuk base Haman Asati La Esther that Haman's house became the property of Esther, which the Rebbe explains up in Kabbalah is as infinite hapch. And nevertheless, it's a kosas lamoy. What kind of kosas lamoy could there be if your life is harchova bagashmis beruchnis? And the answer is akat avde da chashverish anan. We're still slaves of Achashverish. So even though your life is good begashmis, your life is good beruchnis, and you have like Hudamayir of Simcha Sasan Vikar and base Haman Asata Liyested, nevertheless, this kosas lamoy, a yid is totally crushed from the very fact that we're in Golos. And this sense of crushedness from the Yidden that are in Golos is such a deep sense of crushedness that it reaches Moed, that it reaches Yechid. And this is a new word, that you have a kosas lamoed, for lack of words, in a Golos of Ashiras. When life is good and Yidden are comfortable, but they're aware that they're in Golos, they're kosas lamoed. What does this mean? What does it mean that a Yid is completely crushed from the fact that he's in Golos, even though he has comforts? So the Rebbe answers, the true will of every Jew, right? The Tzeinei Amit Yisrael Yisrael is Gilui Elokus. Hashem should be revealed in the whole world. Moreover, it's not Stam a Yid wants Gilui Elokus. Gilui Elokus negei le'etzem mitzius. That Hashem should be revealed in the entire world touches the very etzem of Yid's mitzius. In other words, it's not the pshat. It would be nice if the Eibusher was more revealed. No, if Hashem is not revealed in the whole world, b'tachas hashleimus, it affects a Yid be'etzem to such an extent that when this Gilui is lacking, like it was in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, especially when you add what the Gemara says in Yerushalmi, that Kol Mishal in the Beis HaMikdash b'yamav, Kilu Nechra b'yamav. In other words, if Hashem is not revealed, it means we're destroyed, we're hiding Hashem's light. From this alone, it says, so you can be in the highest level of Gashmis Abaruchnis. The fact that Gilui Elokus negei le'etzem mitzius, and there's a chesaron in Gilui Elokus, causes a Yid to be kosses, nishma v'nit. And even if you personally are on a very high level, watch on what such a high level that by you personally, it's like as if the Gil is manabayis. And the Rebbe brings in footnote 47 that it says in Chassidus that the Yidden like it's Rabbi Paltiel brings it the name of the Alter Rebbe. You heard from Isaac Homler that Yidden by like Shem Bayachoy, the Beis HaMikdash was never destroyed. So you personally have a Gilui Elokus. And you have a Gilui Elokus like it was in Zman HaBayis, but the rest of the world doesn't have it. And you understand that if the rest of the world does not have the same Gilui Elokus that you have, that itself is proof that even what you have is limited. You know why? Because if there's a Gilui of Eidin Seif, which is Beli Gavul, it automatically has to be in the whole world. And if there's a Gilui Eidin Seif to you, and not to your neighbor, is that even you don't have a full Gilui of Eidin Seif, the Gilui Seif that you have is limited. And that's why you're kosses. And even if there's only one place in the entire world, a remote corner, where the Elokus is not Begilui, it's because where the Elokus is Begilui, it's still a Gilui Mugbal, and this causes kosses lamoy. Wow. A Yid could be so broken, and it's Megala the Chiddush of a Nefesh, not just when a guy wants to kill him for being a Jew, but because Gilui Elokus is not in the whole world. And the Rebbe now makes correlations. Number one, it says in the Mamar Amad Alter Rebbe, that it says in Tikkun Ezer, Isa b'Tikkun, that it will be even one tzaddik who will do tshuva shleima, Mashiach will come. Why? How could the tshuva of one tzaddik bring Mashiach? It's a pashtazach, because if a person does tshuva shleima, he's automatically magala eidin seifa b'li gavul. And if he's magala eidin seifa b'li gavul, then it's automatically b'chol mokum. So that's Mashiach. So one year does tshuva mitanemes, he's magala eidin seifa b'li gavul, it's b'chol mokum b'shem. And the fact that this Gilui Elokus is missing is a nishbar v'nitke kosses. He's totally broke. And the Rebbe brings a dogma for this. A guy is sitting in Golos, and his life is so good b'gashmis aberuchnis. He has a Gilui as manabayis, because somebody else doesn't have his kosses. So the Rebbe connects it to what it says in Chassidus, the word choyle. Choyle means a sick person. It's begematria 49. Ches Vav Lamed Hey is 49. And the Rebbe says, what's in 49? That you already reached 49 gates of Bina. You're missing one gate, 50th gate. and you're sick. Imagine having all 49 levels of Bina. So what are you sick? The tendency is if you want perfection and you don't have perfection, it makes you sick. And that's the second dogma that the Rebbe brings for this idea, that a Yid is nishba v'nit kikosis because Gila Lakus is not made b'kol. Then he brings a third dogma. The Tzemach Tzedek writes, takin, the Maimeh Shoresh Mitzvas Hatefilla, which we're learning. And it's the last Hayom Yom. It's a Hayom Yom of Chai Kislev that he used to hear from the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe used to say, Ich will sehr Gott nicht, I desire nothing. Ich will nicht ein Gan Eden, I don't want your Gan Eden. Ich will nicht ein Elam Haba v'chulu, I don't want your Elam Haba. Ich will mehr nicht as dich allein. I want you and you alone. So now the Rebbe says two things. Number one, the Tzemach Tzedek's lashon is Nishma. This is what he used to hear from the Zayda. So the Rebbe's medayik that the meaning of the word Nishma was that he said it all the time. He didn't just say it on special occasions, but the Alter Rebbe would say all the time, this vart, I want you and you alone. Then number two, Tzemach Tzedek heard it from the Alter Rebbe, and he repeated it to us, and it was printed, and it reached us. Says the Rebbe, these 2 points, that the Alter Rebbe said it all the time, that it reached us as a raya, that we all have a shaykhis to this. That even though we're talking not the Madrega of the Alter Rebbe, but in a small way, every Jew needs idea from Dich Alein, that Hashem should be revealed b'yetz. So there's 3 different rayas: the Tikkun Izayah raya, the Vort of Choyle, and then the Tzemach Tzedek quoting the Alter Rebbe. Okay? And therefore, when this Gilui is missing, and especially in the times of Golos, that you don't even have a Gil like it was in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, are you discusses? And this is why 3 times a day we say because we want to see. Techazene means you want to see with our physical eyes the idea of Gilui Elokus. And the Rebbe concludes that this is also Kasas Lamoy. You can have Harchova Begashmes Beruchnis by you personally. There's a Gilui the way this man abayis, and Kasas Lamoy from the fact that a Yid is in Golos, and there's no Gilui Ben Sefer Beligavul, which is automatically B'chol Makom B'Shav. It hurts him so much. It's Kasas. It's so crushing that it's Magal Lamoy. Because the idea that every Jew needs that Gilui Elokus, and then there repeats again, Gilui Elokus negeh le'etzem mitzvahs. The idea that the Yid needs Gilui Elokus, such as the very essence of his mitzvahs, which is why the fact that this Gilui is missing is nishba v'nit v'kosis, from the fact that he's in Golos and there's no Gilui Elokus, even though by him personally is a great Gilui Elokus. And this is a Gilui of the etzem haneshama, in other words, Moir, who's connected to the Eibishter, not through a Siba or through Giluyim, but be'etzem. So the Rebbe says another way, not only you could touch the Yechida, but reveal the Yechida. There's another way you could not just touch the Yechida, but reveal the Yechida. And what is that? If you realize how terrible it is, that there's no Gilui Elokus Ein Sefer Beligavul in the world. Now, I'm about to say words that don't say in the mind, but okay, now I'm adding a little bit. L'chayra, what the Rebbe just said is impossible. It's impossible. How could a Yid, if a Yid has tzaris and a guy wants to murder him, I get Mesiras Nefesh. But a Yid has harchova. It's good, begashmias and harchova beruchnis. How could a Yid nevertheless be kosis because there's no gila, because obligable kosis and megalamoy? It doesn't make any sense. So the Rebbe is going to explain the pathology of it in Perek Yud, and then in Perek Yud Av, the Rebbe is going to explain how it's possible. Okay? So in Perek Yud, he's going to tell you the Kabbalah Shabbadah. But in order to explain this idea, that you can be Megala the Yechida itself, because a Yid is kosis from the fact that he's in Galus. No, the Rebbe says that the idea that the Yechida is revealed, because the Yid is kosis and he's in Galus, is even higher than the revelation of Moed, which is revealed when a Yid is Mesa Nefesh. Yeah, the Rebbe says the second kosis lamoed, when a Yid is Barchava Bagashmes Beruchnis, because there's no Enzev Obligavul Begilui, is higher than the kosis lamoed of Mesiras Nefesh. Why? Why is the second Kasas Lamoed stronger than the first Kasas Lamoed? So he gives Agdam. Let's go back to Matan Torah, right? What's wrong with Matan Torah? Matan Torah was only a beginning, put him as an end. What's wrong with Matan Torah? There's the original, right? That Matan Torah is only a beginning. And Achashverosh was the final Kabbalah, right? Because even though that by Matan Torah we already committed ourselves. So he says, because when we said Nasa v'nishma Matan Torah, it was because of Kaf Aleim HaGagigas. Hashem dangled Har Sinai above a head like a press. So the Rebbe teaches, you know what Kaf Aleim HaGagigas means? Hashem revealed himself. When Hashem is revealed, you don't have a choice. When you see the Eibush, it's kind of hard not to listen to him. So because by Harsina Yidden said Nasa v'Nishma because Hashem was revealed, we say that their Nasa v'Nishma was Mipnei Siba. Something made them say Nasa v'Nishma. The times of Achashverosh was Faket. Hashem not only wasn't revealed, Hashem was maximally concealed. And nevertheless we said Nasa v'Nishma. That's why I put him as higher than Matan Torah. So the Rebbe explains that even though by Matan Torah, when the Eibishter revealed himself, the Lecheda was a Gili of Yechida, and Yechida is an infinite Kashas Atzmis, but the Rebbe says it's al derech she'egdimu nasa l'nishma emuna mitzat sibi. When the Eibishter gave Yidden the Torah, and he revealed himself, and therefore Yidden were forced to say nasa v'nishma, so it's as if you were going to say that Yidden, there was a reason. Yidden said Nasa v'Nishma because something caused it, something outside of them made them say it. Mashenkin by Purim, when Yidden accepted the Torah, this is from themselves. Because Hashem was hidden completely. Hashem didn't reveal himself at all. And the Yidden by themselves came to accepting the Torah because they revealed the Etzem HaNeshama, which is Hiskashas Atmas Min Elokus. So Matan Torah is called accepting because of a cause, and Purim is called accepting without a cause. Says the Rebbe, but now let's talk about Purim itself. Let's break it down further. If Matan Torah is a Kafalei Makagigis, there's a Siba, and Purim is Beli Siba, now let's talk about Purim itself. First, there was a Gezerah that Haman wanted to kill Jews. Yeah? And because Haman wanted to kill Jews, there was a Gili of Yechidah Shabbat Nefesh. What kind of effect did the Yechidah Shabbat Nefesh have on the person? The person was pushed aside. Who you were, what the Rebbe calls Keichas HaGiluyim, is K'mei Davanes. Your personality, your brain, your heart, and your senses were pushed aside by the Gilui of Yechidah Shabbat Nefesh. And because when Yidden faced certain death, they were Magal the Keichas HaMesidas Nefesh, and it pushed aside the Keichas HaGiluyim, it's also like the Indian of Siba. Something is causing the Mesidas Nefesh. Okay, now the way I gave this shir this morning to the women, I gave them this lashon. There is doing Mesidas Nefesh and there's being about Mesidas Nefesh. Doing Mesidas Nefesh means I'm a person. I sacrifice my person for the Eibishter. Being about Mesidas Nefesh means my person is transformed to being about Mesidas Nefesh. Says that but during the time of the Gezerah, when Haman wanted to kill Yidden, Yidden were not Balei Mesidas Nefesh. They were Moiseh Nefesh. They pushed aside their person. They sacrificed their Koichas HaGiluyim to have Mesidas Nefesh from Eibishter. And the Rebbe says, I have a proof from now, from our time, says the Rebbe. Remember, this Maimon was said almost 40 years ago. It was Muga almost 30 years ago, but it was said almost 40 years ago. He says, there are Yidden here who stood in a place for decades, for tens of years in the Mesidas Nefesh for Kutzesh Yud in Russia. Those Yidden left that place, they came to this place, and all of a sudden, all of a sudden you don't see by them the Inyan HaMesidas Nefesh. And the question is why? If a Yid was in Soviet Union Mesidas Nefesh so many years, why when he comes to America it's gone? And the teretz is because the Mesidas Nefesh was not that they were Bailei Mesidas Nefesh. The Mesidas Nefesh was that they pushed aside their Koyachas HaGiluyim, that means their personality, their mahus, and they filled that space with the Inyan HaMesidas Nefesh. So you take away the Mesidas Nefesh, you take away that stress, you take away the Haman. They were not Balei Mesidas Nefesh, they were Moiseh Nefesh. When you take away the Siba, the Mesidas Nefesh is gone. So the Rebbe says, Bedakus, just like Matan Torah is Mipnei Siba, Kaf Alei Magagigis, by Purim, during the time of the Gezerah, it's also Bedakus Mipnei Siba. What does that mean? You're not being Moiseh Nefesh. There's a circumstance of Mesidas Nefesh which pushes you, that means your consciousness, your brain, your heart, your senses out of the way because of the circumstance. V'haraya, when you take away that situation, you're the same love you were before. However, says the Rebbe, after the Nes happened, and now Yidden have a Chal B'Gashim the Baruchnis, and Mordechai is me'ered in Yidden the Iyah from Kosses Lamoy. Now, here there's no Siba. Why? Because this Giloy of Yechidah Shabbat Nefesh is not Dov and Neser Kechas HaGiluyim. It's not an addition to Kechas HaGiluyim. But the Keichas HaGiluyim nasim chadam ha'atzmos. Like I said to you before, you're not being Mesa Nefesh, you become a person of Mesiras Nefesh. Your brain is Mesiras Nefesh, your heart is Mesiras Nefesh, and your senses are Mesiras Nefesh. And because of this, the Kosas Lamoed that happened after the Nes is even a higher Madrege than the Kosas Lamoed, which is during the time of the Gezerah. Because during the time of the Gezerah, it was Kamei Davar Nesev Alatzir, the Keichas HaGiluyim. It was like in addition to your person. And the Kosas Lamoed after the Nes is Nasim Chad Hatzir, the Keichas HaGiluyim, Nasim Chadim Ha'atzmos. Their personalities come from Ha'atzmos. And then the Rebbe explains it in the Lashon of Kabbalah. Okay? He says, because in Etzam HaNefesh there's two Madreges. And because in Etzam HaNefesh there's two Madreges, the Etzam HaNefesh relationship to Keichas HaGiluyim has two types. The lower Madrege of Etzam HaNefesh is called Etzam HaNefesh Kefi Shehi Mugderes Begeder HaPshitos. The Etzam HaNeshama, which is limited. What's the limitation of the Etzam HaNeshama? That it's bligavul. First, there's Etzam HaNefesh Kefi Shehi Mugderes Begeder HaPshitos. The Etzam HaNeshama that's limited, that is bligavul. When you're Megal, the Etzam HaNeshama that's limited, that is bligavul, Bligavul and Gvul can't be in the same space, so it pushes it aside. So the Tzir, the Keichas HaGiluyim, which are limited, and the Etzam HaNeshama Kfi Shemuderes Begeder HaPshitos can't be in the same space, so one pushes away the next. And when the Etzam HaNeshama Kfi Shemuderes Begeder HaPshitos goes away, that's the Tzir Keichas, the same as was before. But there's a higher Madrega of Etzam HaNeshama, and that's called Etzam HaNeshama Kfi Shemushreshes B'Ha'atzmos. The Yechidah Shebenefesh, which is one with the Eibishter. And Etzam HaNeshama Kfi Shemushreshes B'Ha'atzmos is not even limited in the fact that it's unlimited. And therefore, when there's a gili of the higher Madrega of Etzam HaNeshama Kfi Shemushreshes B'Ha'atzmos, so it's Nasim Chadim Keichas HaGiluyim, the Mesiras Nefesh and the Keichas HaGiluyim become one. In other words, it's not the pshat that you're doing Mesiras Nefesh, you become a person of Mesiras. So the Rebbe said, in this Perek Yud, what did we explain? That the Kosas Lamoed, when Yidden are in a state of Harchava, is a higher Kosas Lamoed than when Yidden are in a state of Golus. So in Perek Tes, the Rebbe told us that there's two types of Kosas Lamoed. In Perek Yud, the Rebbe told us that the Kosas Lamoed, when you have Harchava, is a higher, deeper Kosas Lamoed than the Kosas Lamoed when you find yourself in the Tzaras of Golus. And then you get the Perek Yud. And Perek Yud is the most important Perek in the whole Maimer. How could it be? How could a Yid have a Chava B'Gash B'Seberuchnis and yet he's still doing Mesa Nefesh? Doesn't seem possible. So the Rebbe says like this. The Pasuk says, V'yata Tetzaves B'nei Yisrael. Yeah, Moshe has to connect Yidden to the Meibish. Then it says, V'yichu Elech Hashem and Zayazach. Yidden have to bring a Teisves Oir to Moshe Rabbeinu through the Shem and Zayaz. Yeah? And the Rebbe teaches that when Yidden bring Teisves Oir, they bring the Shem and Zayaz to Moshe Rabbeinu, there's extra light by Moshe Rabbeinu. Says that I want to explain this word al derech ha'avodah. In other words, not strictly philosophy. Moshe connects us to Hashem and he has an aliyah. But let's explain the avodah of Moshe connecting us to Hashem and having an aliyah. She says like this. If Moshe Rabbeinu connects into the Eibishter by himself, Moshe Rabbeinu connects into by himself. And because of Kosas Lamoed is Magali Yechidah Shebenefesh. But Moshe Rabbeinu is being Magali Yechidah Shebenefesh through his own V'yata Tetzaveh, so the level of Yechidah Shebenefesh which is then revealed is Kemei Davar Neis V'Keichas HaGiluyim. It's separate from the Keichas HaGiluyim. In other words, you don't become a Baal Mesiras Nefesh, you're pushing yourself away and you're being Mesa Nefesh. And the Rebbe says this can be connected to another idea, which is V'yata Tetzaveh. V'yata Tetzaveh means that Moshe connects Yidden to Hashem. But V'yata Tetzaveh also means that Moshe connects Yidden to one another. Says the Rebbe, if Moshe Rabbeinu is connecting Yidden to Hashem, and if Moshe Rabbeinu is connecting Yidden to one another, because of his own avodah alone, she's Makasher Mechabe Solam Ein Sof, so it has to be Kamei Davar Nesev Al Keichas HaGiluyim. It pushes aside who the people are. But there's another possibility. And what's the other possibility? That after Moshe Rabbeinu connects us to Eibishter, we give back to Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's called the V'yikhu Elech. That after Yidden get the Gili Atzam and Neshama through Moshe, they give their Keichas HaGiluyim to Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Rebbe uses the word Siyah de Keichas. When Moshe Rabbeinu tries to connect us to Hashem, and we give the tzir koiches to the Eibishter, to Moshe Rabbeinu, so then the V'yata Tetzaveh is, instead of being K'mei Daven Neisa L'Keiches HaGiluyim, it's not outside the Keiches HaGiluyim, but it's not Simchadim Ha'atzmos. The Keiches HaGiluyim become one with the Eibishter. In other words, we're Megala, not the Etzem HaNeshama K'fi Shemugderes Begeder Apshitas. We're Megala Etzem HaNeshama K'fi Shemugderes B'Ha'atzmos. And on that level, the Keiches HaGiluyim also become Chadim Ha'atzmos. So what did the Rebbe just say? The Rebbe said these words, this concept, that Moshe by himself can be talking about Me'eda Yechida. But Moshe Rabbeinu can only be Me'eda Yechida in such a way that it pushes away the person. The idea that Moshe Rabbeinu is Me'eda Yechida, and it doesn't push away the person, but the person becomes the person of Mesiras Nefesh, is only possible when we're partners with Moshe Rabbeinu, when there's an Yif of Yikoilach. And then the Rebbe says, I'm Moidin de Kevot. According to what we just said, that there's two V'yata Tetzaves. One V'yata Tetzaveh is Moshe Rabbeinu by himself connecting it into the Eibush, so that the Yechida which is revealed is K'mei Daven Neisa L'Keiches HaGiluyim. And the second V'yata Tetzaveh is Moshe Rabbeinu is revealing the Yechida Nefesh and connecting us to Hashem. But we're partnering with Moshe Rabbeinu so that it becomes Nas Mechad L'Keiches HaGiluyim. This explains two Madreges in Achdas Yisrael. Or in the words of the Rebbe, it adds more understanding to Achdas Yisrael. If the V'yata Tetzaveh is unilateral, if Moshe Rabbeinu was being Me'ed Yechidei Nefesh by himself, and we're not partnering with Moshe, so the Gili of Etzem HaNeshama is K'mei Daven Neisa L'Keiches HaGiluyim, that would be like it does in Tanya. What doesn't say in Tanya? That you're able to love another Jew like you love yourself, but only on the level of the Neshama, not the Guf. Because the Guf is separate. But if you're Megala the higher Madreg, if Ata Tetzaveh and the Madreg, if Chiddush HaBenefesh which is Chadim Ha'atzmos, one thing with the Eibishter. So this Madreg is so unlimited that it could be Chadim Atzir the Keiches HaGiluyim, the person becomes the person of Mesiras Nefesh, says the Rebbe Chiddush Nifla, then it's possible to have the Ein V'Ahavta L'Recha Kamoicha, to know another person exactly as you love yourself, even Mitzat HaGuf. So there's just like there's two Madreges of Ata Tetzaveh L'Gabe the Eibishter. The lower madreg is that it's K'mei Daven Neisa L'Keiches HaGiluyim, and the higher madreg is Chadim Keiches HaGiluyim. We now have two madreges now, Yisrael. The lower madreg is one Yid loves another Yid exactly like loves himself on the level of the Neshama. The higher level is that one Yid loves another Yid even on the level of his Guf, because the Guf is Chadim Ha'atzmos, and when the Guf is Chadim Ha'atzmos, even the Guf can have the Gil of Yechiddush HaBenefesh. Says, and that's why it says in the Fidik of my Mavot. Yeah, but let's go back to the Friedrich's mind. And like I told you in my Hagdama before I started to teach this, one of the things that I did today was I took out the Friedrich Rebbe's mind of Kibbutz Yehudim. I didn't learn the whole Maimed. The Maimed is very long. But I learned those parts of the Maimed which negate to this Maimed. And one of the things the Friedrich Rebbe says is that there's V'ata Tetzaveh, Moshe Rabbeinu connects it into Hashem. Then there's V'iko Elecha, that Yidden bring a taste Ebe Moshe Rabbeinu. And then there is Lahalas Ner Tomid, that the candle that burns day and night without any shinuyim. So the Rebbe says, why does the Friedrich Rebbe connect the Lahalas Ner Tomid with the idea of a Yikho Elach? Okay, because the idea of Ner Tomid has to do with Etzem HaNeshama, and the Etzem HaNeshama L'Cheira has to do with Moshe Rabbeinu by himself. So how come the Friedrich Rebbe brings the idea of Ner Tomid not after the words V'ata Tetzaveh B'nei Yisrael, but he brings the word Ner Tomid after the word Yikho Elach? So the Rebbe answers a very pashat azah. Because if Moshe Rabbeinu was connecting us to the Eibishter by himself without our help, that V'yata Tetzaveh, that Kosses Lamoid, is only Me'erev Adveked from darkness to light. When you're in a dark golus, you're Megali Yechiddush HaBenefesh. But the minute the goal stops being so dark and you have a little bit of Archava B'Gashmis and a little bit of Chabaruchni, V'yata Tetzaveh is gone. But if the V'yata Tetzaveh is bilateral, that Moshe Rabbeinu is Megal, the Yechiddush HaBenefesh is connecting us to the Eibishter. But we're also Makayim Din of Yikho Elecha. So then the Rebbe says, you don't only have Yikho Elecha, but you have Ner Tomid. That even when the light of the day is shining, it's a lichtige Tag, it's a beautiful day, there's Archava B'Gashmis, and there's Archava B'Ruchnis. But because the V'yata Tetzaveh of Moshe Rabbeinu is qualified, is compounded, is added to, but the Yid gives his Keiches HaGiluyim to Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Keiches HaGiluyim Sh'amam Atzmos. So then not only do you have V'yata Tetzaveh, and not only have Kosses Lamoyer, but you have kosas lamar and madrega of ner tamid. Okay, and this is not only yechida, this is even a higher madrega in yechida. Okay, and the Rebbe finishes by saying that this is the difference between kosas lamar when you didn't have tzaris and kosas lamar from the fact that they're in galus. When you didn't have a gil kosas lamar because they have tzaris, it's davanesa v'kechas hagiluim. It pushes aside the person. When you didn't have kosas lamar, even though they have a chav b'gash v'chav b'ruchnis, from the very fact that they're in galus, it becomes chadim kechas hagiluim, and then you have tamid. So now let's stop right here and let's talk. According to what we just did, all 15 words of the pasuk fit in order. V'yata tetzaves b'nei Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu is megala the yechida, and it connects Yidden to the Eivish. V'yichvei lach Hashem and Zayizach, and Yidden partner with Moshe Rabbeinu. They give their own koiches to Moshe Rabbeinu, and therefore the kosis, the fact that Yidden are crushed from their engolus, Lamoir, which is megala yechida shebenefesh, is in a way of ner tamid, that the sun is shining and you still Moshe Nefesh, not just Merabat Beit. So the Rebbe says you have a pasuk which you could read 3 times. Why could you read 3 times the pasuk? Because there's 3 Moshe Rabbeinu. There's Moshe Rabbeinu Hagashmi, who is Megala Yidden Das. There's Moshe Rabbeinu, which means Mordechai during the time of the Gezerah, which is Me'eda by Yidden Mesidas Nefesh. And there's Moshe Rabbeinu, Megala Yechidah Benefesh, Mechadim Kechas HaGiluyim, that a Yid should want to go out of Golos. According to the first Moshe Rabbeinu, the only words of the psukim that are Negeya, Va'ata Tetzava Es B'nei Yisrael, Moir, that's it. Or to be more precise, Va'ata Tetzava B'nei Yisrael, Moir, Me'erev Ad Beker. Actually, you don't say Me'erev Beker either. The second Moshe Rabbeinu, which goes on in the times of the Gezerah, so Va'ata Tetzava B'nei Yisrael, then you would say Kosis La Moir, Lahales Neir, Me'erev Ad Beker, not Tamid. Only the third Moshe Rabbeinu, which is our generation, after the Nes, is Va'ata Tetzava B'nei Yisrael, and Yidden partner with Moshe Rabbeinu, V'yicholech Hashem and Zayizach. And then this Kosas Lamar, the Yechid is revealed from the fact that we're in Golos, Halas Neir Tamid, that it burns even during the day. Okay? Beautiful, gorgeous, but now you have a problem. A very big problem. Because according to everything that we just said in the Maimon, it comes out that there's something Moshe Rabbeinu cannot do without our help. I'll say it one more time for effect. According to what I just said in the Maimon, there's something Moshe cannot do without our help. What is that? The Madrega of Yata Tetzaveh, Kosas Lamor, the Gil of Yechid, the Shasam Chadim, Kechas HaGiluyim, can only happen if we give ourselves to Moshe Rabbeinu. And if we don't give this ourselves to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe can't do it. So you're sort of bringing out that Moshe can't do, as they say in Lubavitch, can't do everything. So everybody says, wait 1 more minute, go back to the pasuk again. We're stating the pasuk. Yata Tetzaveh B'nei Yisrael, you're going to connect into the Mebish, V'yicholech Hashem and Zayizach. That Moshe Rabbeinu reaches out to the Yid, to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu reached out to the Yid, and he says, Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu about the Tzaveh Yid to Mebish, and then Yidden give up themselves to Moshe Rabbeinu v'yichoelech, and by giving us to Moshe Rabbeinu says that ever the v'yichoelech also comes from the Atat Tzaveh. The idea that Yidden bring something back to Moshe Rabbeinu is part of the gift that Moshe Rabbeinu gave us. In other words, Take Emes. V'yichoelech has to come from us. But where do we get the koyach v'yichoelech? Also from Moshe Rabbeinu. So safe, kol safe, everything is the Rebbe, like I told you yesterday in the beginning of the Fabrengen. That even the v'yichoelech, which has to be from us, also with the help of Moshe Rabbeinu, and then with Zechat Ner Tamid. And the Rebbe finishes. The same is true in our generation of the Rebbe. That our avodah is to awaken and to reveal the emunah that Rebbe Yid has from the Etzem and Neshama in such a way that they shouldn't just be followers of the Rebbe, but that they should be servants of the Rebbe. Everyone served, everyone has a shlichus, everyone has a task. And when we are makabel the Kecha Mesiras Nefesh of Moshe Rabbeinu, and we're given our task, so then you magala Ner Tamid, which becomes one with Kechas HaGiluyim. And he finishes by days as Zecher B'Kor of Mamish. The Gula Amitas Vashlem, Sh'oz Yegili Alakus Gam Mitadamat. And there's going to be Avos Hashem of Adlokas HaNeir, Zikol Lech Hashem and V'Geim Alahas Ner Tamid Gam B'Gashmi is. Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, the Gula Amitas Vashlem, my day Mashiach Tzidkenu, take it from a Yad Mamish. Okay, I really hope that was clear. I hope that was helpful and clear.
Can I ask you a little question?
Sure.
I didn't really understand this thing that Kosus Lamar is connected to the Yirku Lacha that flew.
The idea that Mesiras Nefesh doesn't mean jumping into fire. The Mesiras Nefesh means being mahadir in a mitzvah without any pshara. Small little things. In a normal time, Mesiras Nefesh is not jumping into fire. In a normal time, Mesiras Nefesh is little in Yom Yiddishkeit. For a year to do little in Yom Yiddishkeit with an earnestness of a Yata Tetzavet, Mesiras Nefesh, you have to have you have to partner with Meshach Rabbeinu. Otherwise, you can't have.
So you need to be equal.
That's right. Because when you have Yikwei Lecha, you're giving him little things. You're a small person. So the little things that you're giving him make it that the Mesiras Nefesh expresses itself in the little aspects of your life.
It should be like cost the money, then you pay lecha, no? So do the little things in life.
No, but Ata Tetzava. Okay, that's interesting. But Ata Tetzava. Meisha connects you to the Meibish. When there's Yikwei Lecha, then the Kostas Lamor is on a level of Tamid. Let's see, read it. Kostas Lamor Lahal, it goes to later. Kostas Lamor Lahal is near Tamid.
Fine.
Okay? Now, I'm still reserving the possibility of giving the shiurim on Shoresh Mitzvas Hatefilla 8:30 in the morning. I asked Rabbi Blau if he agrees. Maybe we'll do that. Okay? Atzlacha dikim fabringen tonight. Thank you for coming in. Thank you so much for joining.